December 1978. Um, so in our last reading, they, the children and mom had gotten together at the infirmary and actually had come together to see each other. Um, Mom and Geek, Chow and Meng, and Kim. So Choi was the only one who was not there. Another 6 months has passed since our family reunion at the infirmary. Back at the camp, my life continues as before, and with another increase in food rations, I become still stronger. We no longer work in the fields, but spend the hours learning to fight in combat as rumors spread that Yuns have invaded our borders. During the day, we train with the few sickles, hoes, knives, stakes, and guns that are available in the camp. Most of the training is repetitive, but Metbong insists that only when the movements become automatic will we be able to fight well. In the evening, after our meal, we gather brush and sticks to build a fence around our camp. Early one morning, I wake up with dread and panic. My stomach knots, and I am drenched with sweat. I tell myself it is nothing, just nerves. I convince myself that I get nervous easily. After washing my face, I join the other kids in training. Metbong takes her old clothes and stuffs them with leaves and straw to make dummies. For the heads, she stuffs her red checkered scarf with straw. She calls them her Yoon dummies and hangs them on trees in the field. After another long report about the evil of the Yoons, she lines us up single file across from the dummies. With a 6-inch knife in my hand, I stand at attention in front of the line. Panting like an animal with my legs shaking and my hand gripping the knife, I attack at Metbong's cue, charging at my dummy. I yell, "Die! Die!" Though I focus on its head, I am only tall enough to thrust my knife into its stomach. The next morning I wake up in great agony. My head throbs, my stomach hurts, and my chest constricts as if someone is sitting on it. I wrap my arms around my stomach, wanting to scream to the world. Something hurts inside me. Rage erupts in my body, making me jump and run out of the hut. I don't understand the electricity in my body. This panic, this sadness, hatred, emotions that manifest into physical pain. I have to see Mom. It is dangerous to travel without permission, but I do not care. I have to go to her. I know I cannot leave through the front gate. If the girls see me, they will tell on me. I walk around the hut and search for a part of the fence where I can make my escape. I see a loosely built part where the stakes are far apart and the bushes sparse. Making sure no one can see me, I drop to my knees. Quickly, I part the prickly bushes, get on all fours, and crawl through. I walk in the hot sun without food or water. Though my throat begs for water and my feet crave to stop, I push on. My heart races as images of Ma and Geek flash before me. Their faces are long, their mouths turned down, their eyes glisten with tears. They sit at the hut in relief, calling out to me, as if they are trying to tell me something. I know why they are calling out to me, but I cannot accept it. I know. My thought turns to Pa, and I remember how he told me I had extrasensory perception. Even as young as I am, I have always felt as if I live 80% of my life in deja vu. You know what deja vu is? So you like you're doing something and you think to yourself, I've done this before. Or when I was younger, I did this all the time. Like I would have a dream, and then that week something would happen, and I'd go, deja vu, I've done this before. And usually I would go back and go, okay, that was a dream. But in real life, something similar happened. Well, this is what's going on in Loung. In Phnom Penh, many times I knew who was on the other line even before Pa picked up the phone. Walking in the streets with Pa or eating noodles with Ma at the shops, I would sense that we'd run into a certain person, and we would. In Roleep, I had a dream that a certain house would catch on fire, and it did. Pa said it is a power, and though I did not fear it then, I fear it now. The minutes turn into hours until I reach Roleep. It is mid morning. The village is quiet. When I enter the village, I run to Ma's hut. Ma! I call out frantically. Ma! Geek! No one replies. Ma! I run as fast as I can into the garden. Ma and Geek are not there. Tears blur my vision as I run back to her hut. Everything is still there. their wooden rice bowls and spoons, the small pile of clothes. Ma! I scream, my voice hoarse. They are not here, a voice answers. A young woman stands in the doorway of the next hut. She is new. I do not recognize her. They left yesterday. My baby is sick, so I did not go to work. I saw them leave. Where did they go? I don't know. They went with soldiers. The woman says quietly and looks away. She stares into the distance, refusing to look back at me. We both know what it means when the soldiers come to the village and take someone with them. Part of me cannot believe what the woman says, but the other knows it is true. Yesterday, I could not explain the mental anxiety and physical pains I woke up with. Now I know it was Ma and Geek telling me about the soldiers. Ma, where are you? Ma, you can't do this to me. I scream into the empty hut. They cannot have survived 3 years of starvation and the loss of Kiev and Paul only to be taken now. The last time I saw her, she was doing okay without Paul. I believe she was going to make it. She fought so hard to live. She cannot be gone. Poor little geek. She never got anything good out of life. At the sound of her baby's cries, the woman goes into her hut. Inside, the woman hums her baby back to sleep. A memory of Ma singing me to sleep in Phnom Penh flashes before me. I cannot be strong any more. My wall crumbles and collapses on top of me. Tears run uncontrollably down my face. My chest compresses, my insides gnaw at me, eating away at my sanity. I have to run away. I have to leave. Somehow my legs take over and carry me away from the village. Ma, geek, I whisper to them. Their faces flood my consciousness. My mind races, remembering the time I stole rice from the container out of their mouths. She never knew how it felt not to be hungry. My mind will not leave me alone. My body goes weak when I wonder which one of the soldiers killed first. My mind projects pictures of the two of them together. And this is her vision. I see them march slowly in a long line of 20 people collected from other villages in the province. A group of 5 or 6 Khmer Rouge soldiers walk on either side of the villagers. The soldiers' rifles point at the prisoners. The rain 3 days before has left the field wet and slippery with mud, making it difficult for the villagers to keep their balance. Besides the grunts, moans, and whimpers of the villagers, all is quiet. Both the soldiers and the villagers have on black pajama clothes and red and white checkered scarves with mud stains on their bottoms and knees. The men walk with their fingers locked behind their head. Sweat drips from their forehead and stings their eyes, but they dare not unlock their hands to wipe them. The women, children, and old villagers are allowed to use their arms to balance while they work their way on the uneven ground. Whatever their history, whatever their past, they are marching now because the Ankar branded them traitors to the government. Trail, Trailing along at the end of the line, Ma carries Geek on her back. Ma cries softly, her body tense with fear and her hands holding on to Geek. She feels Geek bounce slightly on her back as she catches her balance and prevents herself from a fall in the mud. Biting her lips, she thinks of Pa and wonders if he was this afraid when they took him away. She shakes her head, not allowing herself to think of him as being dead. Parts of her will always believe he is alive somewhere. It has been almost 2 years, and still she misses him every minute of every waking hour. In her dreams, he is so real that she wakes up hurting more than the day before. Sometimes, while she pulled weeds from the vegetable gardens, her mind wandered to their first meeting by the river when she first caught his eye. She thought he was so handsome, but knew her parents would not approve of him. She loved him, and despite her parents' objections, she ran away and they eloped. She just wanted to be with him. Maybe she would be with him again soon. The soldiers lead them past the rice paddies, past the swaying palm trees, to a field at the edge of the village. There, away from all eyes, they make Ma kneel with the other villagers. Sinking in the cool mud, Ma and Geek cling to each other. She hugs Geek tight to her chest, as if trying to push her baby back into her belly to spare her from the pain. She slides one hand up the back of Geek's head to make sure her face is turned away from the massacre about to happen. In her arms, Geek's body shudders and her teeth clatter near Ma's ears. She feels Geek's small hand gripping her neck, yet she is quiet. The soldiers stand before them, their rifles aiming at the group, their fingers poised on the triggers. The dark clouds move over them, casting black shadows on the soldiers. The wind blows warm air around them, but Ma is shivering. She knows there is no fighting her fate. She knows no amount of begging will allow her to escape. She wraps her arms even tighter around Geek and squeezes her eyes shut, praying while the others beg for mercy. She brings Pa's face to mind and waits. That second That second feels like an eternity. She fights the impulse to scream, to provoke the soldiers to just get it over with. She does not know how much longer she can be brave. The weight makes her heart begin to believe and hope. Could the soldiers have changed their minds and let them all go? She finds herself breathing faster at this thought. No, I must be strong for Geek. She must not leave this world in terror. Then Ma hears the slush of mud as a soldier moves his position. Her heart pounds as if it will rip through her chest. One soldier slings his rifle across his back and walks toward the group. Ma feels the ground beneath her become warm and wet. Glancing to her side, she sees that the man next to her has wet his pants. A soldier approaches the group. He walks straight toward her. Ma's eyes widen with hope. Her heart palpitates with fear. The soldier reaches down and grabs Geek's shoulders. The two of them scream a loud, shrill scream that echoes through the air, but the soldiers do not stop and pull Geek out of her grasp as they cling to one another, yelling to each other not to let go. The soldier tears them apart until only the tips of their fingers hold them together. Then that chain too is broken. All the villagers cry and beg and start to get up off their knees. Suddenly, the rattling sounds of the rifles go off and bullets pierce through their bodies, silencing their screams. Geek runs over to Ma's slumped over body with her face in the mud. Geek is only 6 years old, too young to understand what has just happened. She calls Ma and shakes her shoulders. She touches Ma's cheeks and ears and grabs her hair to try to lift her face out of the mud. But she is not strong enough. While rubbing her eyes, she wipes Ma's blood all over her own face. She pounds her fist on Ma's back, trying to wake her up, but Ma is gone. Holding on to Ma's head, Geek screams and screams. Not stopping to take in any air, one soldier's face darkens and he raises his rifle, and seconds later, Geek too is silenced. Walking away from Roleap, I am deafened by the ringing in my ears. All the stories I have heard of how the Khmer Rouge kill their victims come back to me. Tales of them tying their victims in potato sacks and throwing them in the river, and stories of their torture chambers frequently circulate among the villagers. It is said the soldiers often kill children in front of their parents to elicit confessions and names of traitors. The ringing in my ears becomes louder, making me disoriented. Ma's face appears before me. I choke as I think of the pain she feels as she watches the soldiers hurt Geek. My mind closes over the pictures my mind makes up of their deaths, which refuse to let go of me, and then my head feels full and heavy. Tears pour for me as I drag my body away from the village. Someone once told me that if you hit your head hard enough, you lose all your memories. I want to hit my head hard. I want to lose my memory. The pain in my heart hurts so much it becomes physical and attacks my shoulders, back, arms, and neck like hot pins pricking at me. Only death will relieve me of it. And then something takes over me. It is as if I am drifting away into another place, into the deepest recesses of my mind to hide from the pain. Suddenly the world becomes hazy and blurry. It is black all around me, soothing and empty. My pain and sadness no longer feel real or personal, no longer mine, when the blackness swallows my surroundings and me with it. I think Pol Pot had, I think, 2 million Cambodian people died. It's the worst kind of genocide. When I regain some level of conscious thought, I am back at my camp, standing before Metbong. My hand massages my stinging cheek. I taste blood in my mouth. Metbong has slapped me awake. Where have you been? She demands as the world comes back in focus. The girls stand around us watching me. I don't know, I managed to say. I went to see. And you stayed for 3 days? Don't you know the Yuns are everywhere? My eyes widen in disbelief. No, I don't know where I was, I tell her honestly. Her hand lands hard across my face again, and the pain makes me dizzy. I almost lose my balance. You won't tell me? You won't have any food tonight, and I will reduce your food ration until you do. She screams into my face and walks away. After she is gone, I walk to the well and pull up a pail of water. Drinking some, I pour the rest over my feet, rubbing one foot against the other. I remove the layers of red mud to expose my small, wrinkled toes. Ma is dead. I repeat to myself with little emotion. Ma is dead. I have no memory of the 3 days after I left her village. In our training the next day, I charge at the Yoon dummies even before Met Bong's cue. My skin vibrates with hate and rage. I hate the gods for hurting me. I hate Pol Pot for murdering Paul, Ma, Kiev, and Geek. I stab my wooden stake high into the dummy's chest, feeling it puncture the body and hit the tree. Hard and fast I stab it, each time envisioning not the body of a Yoon, but that of Pol Pot. Now it is all real. Now I no longer have to pretend to be an orphan. And I'm going to show you, there's only one picture of Geek. There's only one that they have. The only picture that they have, and she is the tiniest little girl here in this picture. It's Kim and Ma and Geek, and then Loung and Chow and Choi. And that's this picture right here. And there's Geek. And that's the only picture they have of her. To, to live through this horrific, horrific experience and still be a person when you come out on the other end, which we know she is because she was able to write this. It's a miracle. It's a miracle in itself. All right, that's all we're going to read today.